Woo, Ryan, guess what? It's show number 100.
Say the meek little make that kitty quiver. I'm just saying. Check this out.
Yes, Steve. Let's see your wiener.
Bless.
There you go. When you take your shirt off, does it match your chest hair?
You okay, Ryan?
Yep.
You took a little too big of a gulp, didn't you? Got a little brave.
No, this one's, I mean.
Well, Mike, as you see, I don't know, Mike, if you've seen the show, I made a starting, and it's pretty good, isn't it? You like the little...
I know. That's pretty good. I like that. That's some good clips right there.
All right, everybody. It is Thursday Night BBQ Chat. I am Steve Kress. I am with It's All About the Barbecue. And during the week, you can find me working the aisles in lovely, beautiful Wanamakers in Downers Grove, Illinois. And a man sitting next to me, not my usual co-host, but he's been on the show many a times. The man all the way out there in the warm city of Las Vegas, Mr. Mike Starr of Blazing Star,
Nevada. Let's go.
I know you're not in Las Vegas, but I like to say Las Vegas.
All right. Viva Vegas.
Las Vegas. All right. So Ryan's on a cruise out in the middle of the Mediterranean somewhere enjoying whatever. And that always means it's nice. Probably, it must be nice. It means it's probably going to be a funner show when Ryan's not here. Let me get up here to comments so I can get my thing. I'm trying to get everything situated. Before we get started, actually, let me do, we're going to try really hard here, and we're going to try a sponsor video. We're going to try and do a sponsor video. Everybody, it may work, it may not. If not, we'll come back.
Melinda's Hot Sauce, bold heat and flavor. Boar's Night Out, championship level barbecue rubs. Blues Hog, legendary sweet heat barbecue sauce. Marble Ridge Farms, premium quality meats. Fat Cow Jerky, big flavor for serious snacking. And OG Bandits, bold rubs with barbecue attitude.
Wow, I guess I got it to work. I muted my mic and everything.
Nice.
So I didn't get
this figured out, man.
I'm doing okay so far, but I can't do anything other than that. And then at the bottom of the half hour, we'll play our other line of sponsors because we got a bunch of them now. We got a whole bunch of sponsors.
That's what's up. I think I was on the show when you got your first sponsor, right?
Yeah. Well, then you were on with Melinda's, and we got David. Melinda's has been a great sponsor, and they are, by the way, everybody. And if you own a business out there, Melinda's has been one of the best vendors in the whole world to deal with.
They're incredible.
Next to Mike Starr, but as far as everything, I mean, they are so accommodating and everything.
Yeah, they're incredible. Incredible people, fun people, and great products.
So how's everything going, Mike? Are you traveling around? Anything exciting?
Good. Staying busy, just got back from Key West not too long ago, about to head to Montana. So, it's been a fun year already. We've already been to a couple states, and I think I got 9 states keyed up for the next 3 months. So it's going to be fun.
Well, our guest this week, Girls Gone Grillin' says, let's see if I can get this work. Girls Gone Grillin' says hi. Nice to see you. And then Happy Pappy Pepper Powder is in here from the great state of Georgia. Well, the guest that we have on the show this week, Mike, we ran into each other at, you know it as well as I do, one of the best events of the year, the Shed Barbecue and Blues Joint down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Yep.
And I think we were actually talking behind you because you were in Cigar Row with Melinda's. It was you and Al and David and there were more.
That was an interesting night.
There were more cigars going. Mike got emotional on stage. Everything was all crazy. It was a wild, crazy night. So, but
usually is down at the Shed.
We met and we happened to find out we both did podcasts, and we both found out we both don't know Dave Grohl. And if we get him, anybody that gets to know him gets to put him on the show first, and then we refer him to the other guy. And that's how we're going to deal with it. Nice. So let's bring on Meet Dave, Mr. Dave Williamson.
Let's go.
I can get him on. There he is.
Let's go.
What's up, Dave?
Well, I agreed to that. I don't remember agreeing to that.
Well, I'm sure I probably had less than just about everybody there. So I probably could have made any deal with anybody and probably
smart. Yeah.
probably signed anything at that point.
Well,
But,
I
yeah, no.
definitely had some drinks at the shed, but I was not as turnt as Mike was up on stage.
I don't think anybody was that turned.
Mike, you were having you were accepting a Grammy or something, or
Right.
you were just like, let me tell you why everyone here is a beautiful person, but I'm gonna start with Al Fragoni. And man, it was beautiful, dude. It was gorgeous.
That's what happens when you show up late and you try to play catch up.
Yeah.
Never try to play catch up.
Well, that was me a couple of years ago, the first year I ever went to the shed, because I was just hanging out. Well, I actually, that's a lie. I was competing, but I had no chance of winning. It was like the first time I ever did a steak, and then we just did the Bloody Mary for fun or whatever. So the big party night, we were partying, we were there to just network and have fun and see people and hang out with friends. And then Brooke and Brad were like, yo, Dave, come up on stage. And I'm like, this is a bad idea.
Right.
So this year I did make sure to, you never know when you're going to get pulled on stage. So I had some drinks, but I stayed under control. And sure enough, they were like, hey, will you judge the final showdown? And I'm like, yes. Right. And I was able to do it without getting all turned up.
I got Mr. Lap. I usually don't wear my glasses, so we're going to try and read. Lapore Canostra says, my dude, Dave.
Yeah, man. 305, Miami representing. Yeah, man. That's my guy, right?
So, Dave, I got in creeping on you while I was trying to figure out what you do besides, being at the shed. What came first, the comedy or the barbecue?
Oh, comedy came way first. I always like to describe myself as being a professional stand-up comedian who is obsessed with barbecue, so much so that it led me down this path of starting the podcast and the dry rub, and then just making all these wonderful friends in the barbecue community. So yeah, the stand-up was definitely first, but the barbecue community has supplied me with something that I was definitely no pun intended, hungry for, and just a new outlet, to kind of give myself an identity or something that's authentic and that I'm proud of, and it's been so fun, dude. It's been such a fun journey to start from really just trying to teach myself in my yard to then meeting awesome people like you guys and so many others who have been mentors and friends and encouraged me to lean into it, and it's become such a big part of what I do that sometimes I don't know where the lines are blurred. I don't know where comedy ends and barbecue starts. The branding is so overlapped now. And it's really rejuvenated comedy for me. It's made comedy more fun for me too, to have kind of an identity and to be like, oh, you're the barbecue guy. And I mean, all my comedy is just stories. I'm basically the dad who grills and drinks beers and tells stories anyways. That's kind of, how my vibe is. So the whole barbecue identity is just tell me you're a dad who drinks IPAs and tells stories without telling me that,
And it plays in well with the barbecue too. So, you can't beat that,
Yeah, 100%.
I know Dave I feel like you're selling the barbecue side a little short, because I know we met, it's a little over 3 years ago at the first Key West. And a lot of funny stories there, especially with the lobster diving and the belly flopping and everything competition. But hey, y'all bring it. Y'all brought it down there. You came down there and showed that you weren't just a comedian. You could compete with all the big dogs down there. That was, other than the lobster, that was the second memory that I had of you. And ever since then, I've just seen you lean into that with a barbecue, and you're everywhere. And it's not just the comedy side, it's the barbecue side. I feel like is coming in just as strong. And yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there.
No, thank you, Mike. It means a lot, man, coming from you. And yeah, we did really well the first year. The Key West was the first. I'd been to a lot of events, people invite me to come hang out. People invited me to come perform, at Memphis in May and stuff. And then people even invited me to be on their team for certain things. But Key West was the first, event that reached out to me and said, "Hey man, we want you to captain a team. We want you, we want to put your brand on it, whatever." And I was like, "Dude, are you sure, man?" And he was telling me some of the names that are coming, and I just didn't feel worthy. So I called up my boy Jody, who I love cooking with, and I knew that if he wasn't already getting invited by someone, that was going to be the first phone call I made. And then we added my buddy Roy, who's down there in the Lebitard show, and the three of us went with my son the first year. And we did really good. I think we came in second overall that first year. And we were humbled that we did so well. We were like, dude, we were so close, right? And
I think you did those PB&J ribs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Those.
I like to get creative with that stuff. That first year I looked around and I was like, man, we're not going to just do competition ribs and go up against Heath Riles. And, so we got to use our strength, which is me and Jody are both very creative dudes. So we had done those PB&J ribs on a YouTube video one time. So we were like, dude, let's do that, man. Let's take a swing for it. And it worked, But then when I saw how many people were coming back the second year, it got even bigger and more prestigious. And I'm like, I think we missed our window to win this thing, dude. Last year was the year we were right there, And then sure as hell, we won it the second year, And it was super validating and very heartwarming how happy everyone was for us, And then we just went back and ran it back again, tried to defend our title and came up a little short, but we did go away with some hardware. So that was really cool. But Mike, you're glossing over the best part of that was how I became friends with Mike. And they do a lobstering day at the Key West Invitational. So it's a fishing tournament. You get points for fishing. It's a lobster diving competition. You get points for lobster. You cook on a sandbar for people's choice. And then you do a traditional barbecue competition around the pool at the resort with 4 specific proteins, and that's a little bit more of like a traditional barbecue competition, right? So on the lobster day, my boat captain and Mike's boat captain put us on the same spots, so we were like right next to each other trying to like dive for lobsters. And Mike was like, man, I just want to get one. And I'm like, and I grew up in South Florida lobstering, and I was like, man, I know it's a competition. I know I'm supposed to grab all the lobsters, but I'm like, let's get you a lobster, Mike. And I tried.
He was determined. He was determined to get.
I tried, and we couldn't get one, right? And then I kind of was like, all right, buddy, we tried, man. I'm sorry. And then I went and was like kind of trying to get some for myself. And then I hear someone just like yelling and screaming, and I thought someone got bit by a shark. And I look up, and Mike's over there going, I got one. I was more happy for him. He went off on his own with those skills that he learned in a short time, and he got one of those suckers, and it's not easy. And I think I was more excited for you in that moment than I've ever been for either of my children when I taught them to ride a bike or anything, dude. I was like, man, Mike.
I didn't have flippers or nothing, man, and I wasn't lightweight either. I was very buoyant. Let's put it that way.
The current was ripping.
Yeah, the current was ripping. Yeah, it was.
And the bottom was murky because everyone else who did have fins, just kept stirring up the bottom and
Wow. It was crazy, but it was definitely one of those moments where I was like, I'll never forget that moment ever. Like my first lobster. I mean, that's like your first time just doing anything, right? That's one of those moments in life, I felt like I was a kid,
I think that's what makes that competition unique. I mean, that competition has got so many weird, and I'm glad they brought it back because if I think correctly, they were gone last year and then they came back this year. But I think that's what makes that one. There's so many different variables to that. It's not just a competition. There's like weird, crazy stuff that goes on with it.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. It's Key West is one of my favorite places on earth, anyways, and they have a comedy club there too. So talk about double dipping. The past 2 years, I've headlined the comedy club Wednesday to Saturday and competed at the same time in the competition Thursday to Sunday. And I'm on fumes at the end of that thing, man. But
no doubt.
But
it's so much fun. Plus, at the same time frame, you get to raise a lot of money for pediatric cancer on top of it. So it's like, like there's so many wins in there. You get to have the time of your life. You get to hang out with some of the best people in the industry, and do some of the coolest stuff ever. And then at the same time frame, raise money for pediatric cancer, which your team happened to raise the most money too this year.
Great job. Yeah.
Yep. We were number one on funds raised for the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation as a team, and that really made me feel good. And part of that was thanks to working the comedy club, because I made it part of my spiel every night.
Right.
So the audiences at the comedy club were donating, and so I had, and then since I told the story on stage, one of my buddies, one of my family friends is a dentist on the island, and he was like, I got you, dude. He's like, we're gonna raise some money for this charity, and so he made a really generous donation along with all the other people that made donations throughout the week, so it got us there.
Well, AK Barbecue Man did his blazing lobster. Oh yeah. And then Happy Pappy says you can use raw bacon to catch crawfish. Maybe it'll work with lobster. So there's some tips for next time going out. Start swimming.
I eat the bacon, and then that fuels me to go down and catch the lobster.
Right.
Well, since you guys brought up the pediatric cancer, I mean, I believe, I don't know the exact dates, but I've been seeing it on there. And I just saw Mark and Ashley were talking about it on Old School, that the Hogs for a Cause is coming up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think it's next week or the week or 2 weeks.
It's next weekend. Yeah, next weekend. Yeah, I'm normally there. Matter of fact, I was supposed to be there, but we have an event at Montana Knife Company, their grand opening for their place. So, yeah. But, yeah, I love that event. That actually is one of my guaranteed top 3 events. You know, it's so much fun. You talk about barbecue events that really like cater to the public. That's it. It's a fun one. And once again, it goes to a good cause. They raise a lot of money. Like this
it's
one crazy.
I don't know a lot of the. I was just watching Mark and Ashley finish up. I know they were going over some of the links where people can go donate. I know that one is obviously for Ricky Bobby. If you donate to that one, they're making the whole donation is in the name of Ricky Bobby, who passed away earlier this year, which I think is pretty cool. But if you go to Hogs for the Cause, you can see, I believe they probably have all the teams on there listed where everybody can make a donation. So get over there and make a donation to that, and for that great event. So what's up next for you, Dave? Anything exciting coming up or?
Yeah, got a lot on the calendar, man. I was trying to go to Hogs. Once again, I was trying to double dip and book some stand-up dates kind of around it so I could justify, going and being away from home another week. But kind of didn't work out. And I think it was for the best because, I've gotten involved with this brick and mortar here in my neighborhood in Los Angeles. And we're going to go ahead and flip the menu starting next week. So we've been, since I got involved last year, I took over the kitchen and the menu, and I brought on my guy, Uncle Chico. If you guys know Uncle Chico's Barbecue, it's also a guy here. And then Chris Bonotto also came onto the team and is helping us out.
Great.
Yeah. So
solid team.
Yeah, if you notice a theme with any of this stuff that I've done or able to have any success with, it's 99% because I'm like to think I'm good at putting good people around me. I'm blessed to have good friends, and I just know the importance of having a good team around you. No matter how talented you are, or how hard you work, you got to have people that are on your side around you. So we've been doing, we flipped the menu like a little under a year ago, and it's been really well received. But it was more just barbecue themed, brisket sandwiches, pork melts, tri-tip sandwiches, things like that, and then everyone was like, oh, I just want the meats. And I'm like, we're not really equipped or set up for that to do like full barbecue, fresh every single day. Like, you come in, we could always put out a great brisket sandwich, but if one of us isn't there, then I haven't taught a line cook how to slice brisket yet. You know what I mean? Right. And so we started doing Meet Dave Wednesdays. So I told people I'll commit to Wednesdays. I can always be in town on a Wednesday, and Wednesday we will do full barbecue platters. And then if people ask like, oh, we want just meat, tell them to come on Wednesday. and it's been so well received the past few months, and people are super stoked about it. We just said, you know what, screw it, let's go for it. So we're gonna basically turn the corner to being a more traditional barbecue operation starting next week, and it's
Wow.
a little scary, but it's extremely
For sure.
exciting too, especially here in Southern California. It's not always easy to pull that off. So the fact that I found a place where I have great partners, very supportive partners who are already in the bar business and understand a lot of the front of the house stuff, and then me and my guys could just concentrate on the food and putting out a good product and bringing a cool environment and atmosphere. I think it's a very unique situation, and
Heck
we're
yeah.
proud of it, dude. I can't wait for you guys to come out and see it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, definitely. Need
What's
to
the,
get
what's
down
the,
there.
what's the name of the place?
So it's the Old Town Patio, which is on Richmond Street in El Segundo, California. El Segundo is right by LAX Airport. So we're nestled in between Manhattan Beach and Playa del Rey. And they call it Mayberry by the Beach because feels like a little like Midwestern town, like a little small. Everyone knows everyone. We got our little coffee shops and our little brewery and whatever. But you could hop on a bike and ride down to the beach,
I think I'm planning a vacation around June, like middle of June time frame.
Why don't you plan it June 25th to 28th to come to my festival, dude?
Oh yeah, you got that too. But I think I still have that off on my dates. That's on my dates. I don't have June is like one of my slower months because it starts getting hot, But yeah, I have that locked in, your festival dates, but we were gonna do like a vacation. I actually have something up in I might end up being in California for a couple of weeks actually, because I got to be in Sonoma, California for the race wars. We've got something that we're working on up there for that. And then the plan was to come back down to Southern California down your way for a week and then go back home and then come back out for your festival.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Come visit us, man. Yeah, we'd love to have you. I mean, that would be awesome because then we'd get to hang out when it's not all crazy busy, but then
exactly.
Definitely come back for the festival. So Steve, that's the other thing. I was running a comedy festival here in El Segundo for 5 years before the pandemic, and was just kind of like, I don't know. I just was passionate about trying to do something for the community, and there's so many cool little venues around this town that I was like, I think this would be a really cool place for a comedy festival. And the town was real supportive, but it was very small little, shows all over town for a week. And when the pandemic happened, obviously we took a couple of years off. And then everyone was like, are you going to bring it back? Are you going to bring it back? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm so busy. Still don't know if I have the bandwidth to do it right. And I just wasn't really passionate about bringing it back. But then I started thinking like, I've always wanted to do something like, I thought it'd be cool to bring a barbecue event to town. And I'm like, if I did bring the comedy festival back, maybe that's a way to make it different and more fun. So we rebranded and we brought it back as the Gundo Comedy and Barbecue Festival. And
that's the great thing about barbecue, though. I mean, barbecue blends with everything. It blends 100%. With music. It blends with comedy 100%. I mean, because I can't even tell you, as all of us probably have heard more funny stories from more barbecue people just sitting around talking. I mean, they're all comedians, for crying out loud. And that's probably the basis of the show. That this show was just supposed to be guys sitting around and gals. Sitting around just chatting like they would at a barbecue competition, and you never know where it's going to go. I mean, it's going to be 1 minute we're talking about, you cooking barbecue and lobster, and the next minute we're talking about the comedy festival. I mean, so you just don't know where it's going to be. So,
yeah. Well, and for me, it's the blending of a bunch of people I love from different portions of my life too. Right. Cause I really love my community, dude. I love where I live. Like, I go around the country and people are like, why would you live in Los Angeles? And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't really think of it like that. I love my community, dude. My neighbors, like the businesses around here, like the weather, like I love my community, dude. Like I got such great people that live around me here. And then I love my comedian family. I love my barbecue family, and I get to bring them all into town to experience where I live and my neighbors, and where I like to eat and drink and party. And so for me, dude, it's like it's a lot of work, but it's like my favorite week of the year, just like bringing everyone here and having fun together.
Well, you don't live in Los Angeles. You live in
Yeah, I don't live in Hollywood.
You live like in a burb or something of Los Angeles or something like that. But because that's just like when
by the beach.
That's like when we go somewhere, it's like we never say that we live in Woodridge. But we don't say Woodridge. We always, because nobody knows where the hell that is. We say Chicago, and I get the same thing. It's like, why would you want to live in Chicago? I don't live in Chicago, but I'm the same thing. It's like where I'm at. I love where I'm at. I mean, it's nothing like the city, but it's a great place.
Oh yeah, I grew up in Miami, and everyone thought, you say you're from Miami, they think you live in a nightclub in South Beach, and I'm like, I haven't been to South Beach in like 4 years, bro.
What's it like living in? What is it like living in Miami? I mean,
Miami's a wild place, dude. I always tell people that I feel super blessed I grew up there because there was some really cool community around me, but I'm also equally grateful I'm not raising my kids there now. Like I think
I can imagine
it's a wild
doesn't seem
place.
like the place to raise kids, that's for sure.
I mean, well, just like you're talking about with Chicago or LA, whatever. I mean, there's suburbs and stuff like that, but it's just, I don't know what it is, dude. Miami is just a fast and loose town, dude. And it's easy to find trouble. And I mean, there's just eclectic personalities, which can make things so interesting and so wonderful. And it's definitely shaped me into who I am as an adult. But at the same time, man, it's, I feel as a parent, you'd be playing defense against a lot of forces.
Right.
And I don't know. It's like I grew up on a lake, and had, you don't realize things are abnormal, that you can go over your friend's house and like ride a jet ski or go jump off a bridge into a canal or, and it doesn't have anything to do with like being rich or well off. It's just everyone knows a guy, everyone knows a guy.
Right.
And, like my uncle gave me his old beeper when I was in like 7th grade. I don't think there's a lot of like 7th graders around the country that had beepers, like it's just,
Jesus.
I had a water bed my entire childhood. I didn't know that kids didn't have water beds all over the country.
Funny. That's funny.
God, that's a lot. That's a whole era back there with water beds and beds and beepers.
Beepers, right? I think I had both at one point.
Dude, we used to sell candy like drug dealers. We would, when Costco first became a thing, I'd get my mom to buy me a big Costco size like blow pops or airheads, and then I'd bring them into school, and in the little like spill out area after lunch, I'd be out there like, yo, 25 cents, blow pop.
Yeah.
And we would deal candy, dude.
Yeah, I didn't have Costco back then. I had Winn-Dixie, but I was dealing blow pops too. So I can relate to that one. I definitely dealt blow pops, man. Yep, 25 cents a pop too, man.
Yeah.
Had my beeper going off. You need a blow pop? I got you.
Man. We're like brothers. Yeah.
Miami Vice with blow pops. Holy cow.
That's hilarious. What's
what's
the restaurant? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no! Well, I was going to say back on the Miami thing. What's the food like down there? I mean, is it good? You got like Cuban food down there, or is it?
I mean,
a big mix or?
I mean, Cuban food's obviously off the chain, dude. It's like amazing. Miami's obviously a melting pot, so any
a lot
sort
of
ethnic,
South American, Central America, right?
Yeah,
mostly.
I mean, I haven't lived there in a minute, so maybe things have changed. But just from my experience of back in the day being there. Funny enough, you could not find great Mexican food. Mexican food was kind of at a premium, but any other kind of Hispanic food was just incredible. Cuban, Southern American, whatever. And then you have great Caribbean food, great European influence, amazing Italian places. Actually, casual dining is really good in Miami too. There wasn't a lot of chains when I was growing up. Like all the chains were, and if they were, it was like more of like a Florida centric chain, and that probably had to do with the fact that we were like way down, the state of Florida. So now it's probably a little easier. Like the trucking, is a little bit more sophisticated than it was back then. But growing up, like we didn't have a TGI Fridays on every corner. Like a lot of them were like, mom and pops or smaller businesses. But I still think the thing that would probably surprise you the most, Miami is the best city for chicken wings. I don't know why,
Really?
but the sports bars have all got it figured out. There's like 3 or 4 different chains of sports bars that all like kind of started at this one place, and then they've all like gotten into fights or broke off or started their own place. And that knowledge for these chicken wings has spread between 3 or 4 different like chains down
Wow.
there. And yeah, Miami's a really good chicken wing place.
I would imagine right now.
Happy Pappy said he sold candy cigarettes as a kid.
Nice. That's
and
funny.
then Girls Gone Grillin' was Stone Crab is her favorite.
Ooh, yeah, Stone Crab is amazing down there in Miami, dude. And then even probably the most underrated seafood that you can get your hands on is conch. And you don't see it a lot in Key West where we're at because there's a lot of regulations against it recreationally in the United States. But when I go over to the Bahamas, conch is pretty plentiful. And man, I just remember growing up having cracked conch and conch fritters and conch salad. Oh man, conch salad is better than any ceviche you'll ever have.
Wow, that's crazy. I would imagine now with Messi being in town, they have more Argentina food.
Oh yeah,
down there too.
I'm sure.
I got a question. Do you remember? I remember as a kid driving in Florida, just to how Florida has changed in the 40 or 50 years that I remember. Once you entered Florida, there weren't a lot of stops. And obviously this was before cell phones. And I don't know if you remember, but I can remember driving down I-75 and literally like every half a mile, there was like a telephone that you like a telephone box. That's because there were no cell phones. And if your car, the next exit, there weren't a lot of exits. So it was like, you're talking the late 70s, early 80s, and there was like nothing there. And they had like these call boxes like every half a mile so that if your car broke down, you didn't have to walk forever in a day, especially at night. Cause I'm sure it was probably pitch black out there.
A lot of stuff that can kill you in Florida, dude.
Yeah, right. So it was just like they had all these phone boxes, and I just remember all these phone. Like, why do they get so many? As a kid, you're like, why do they got so many phones so close together? I mean,
bottom line is like people, might not think of Florida this way, but you associate it more like Louisiana or whatever. But like Florida is just a giant swamp, and the elements are harsh. It's hotter than hell. And if you had to walk a couple miles, you might not make it on certain days, and there's an alligator in every single body of water. There's
pythons now,
Florida panthers and pythons and all kinds of crazy stuff, dude.
Forget about the panthers all the time, but it is a real thing down there.
Yeah. And then you also have the meth heads and Florida man and all the wacky people. Like, you could go disappearing off the side of a Florida highway real quick.
That's funny.
There's no banjo playing in the in the tree.
Oh no, it's probably more like bongo drums or something like that.
Right.
Gloria Estefan going to come out and get you. The rhythm is gonna get you.
Lepore on Instagram said sounds like Alligator Alley when I was talking about the phone. So I guess I could see that. I mean, you wouldn't want to go trampsing through the side brush over there. Definitely what it is. So you said 75 goes down to Naples and then it goes across over to Florida or to Miami, and that's Alligator Alley. And absolutely, there's no one patrolling out there. If you break down, you definitely are going to need a way to contact for help. I've definitely, that's like the most dangerous stretch of road in like the United States. Apparently, it's just one lane going both ways. It's pitch black. There's a pretty high percentage chance you're gonna roll over a turtle or some sort of wildlife crossing across the street because it's a canal on one side and a canal on the other, and there's just alligators and turtles and birds going across. And the couple little stretches where you might come through and see some civilization is usually like Indian reservations. If you were out there and had phone, that's definitely what it was. And if nothing else gets you, the mosquitoes will. Freaking mosquitoes. Yeah.
Mosquitoes are bad, that's for sure.
So the guy who used to own the comedy club over on Marco Island, he was real cheap about giving the opening acts hotels. So we would drive 2 hours from Miami to do the show, and we would just drive home every night across Alligator Alley at midnight after a few beers, just so that guy could save $70 a night. We couldn't afford a hotel. We'd be losing money on the gig if we paid we're just young comics coming up. So it was like, that was always, I'm like, dude, one of these days, one of these comics is going to get killed making that drive every night, late at night, fall asleep at the wheel or something. And, I don't know. I made it every time though.
There you go. So with that restaurant, you say you're going full-time barbecue with it. Are you doing the scenario where you cook what you want to cook, and then when you sell out, you sell out? Is that the plans?
I mean, yeah, I think we're going to cook as much as we can. And then, I can always keep enough brisket on hand and pulled pork and stuff like that in the fridge to heat up and make a sandwich. Like, that's not a problem. But yeah, like pork ribs is something that we would definitely have to figure out what our par is and how much we can really keep and bring back to
they
life.
They don't hold the same as a brisket or pork butt.
Yep. And the fresh sliced brisket and things like that, I think we'll figure out over time as far as like, how to put in the fridge and bring it back to life and stuff like that. But I mean, we're just gonna have to go for it and see how the town responds and see how much we're gonna have left. And if we run out, we run out. And
there's nothing wrong with that. I think I think that concept too, it helps build that buzz. I go back to there's a barbecue. It was the first one I really truly saw that scenario in Kansas City. It's actually one that people don't talk about in Kansas City because it's not a Kansas City barbecue joint. I don't know if either one of you heard of it. It's Chef Jay's. It's down in the bottoms in Kansas City, so in Old Town, right? And they're actually restoring that area. But I think now they actually might be going full-time all week. But years ago when they first started, they were only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they basically were like, hey, we open it at 11, right? And we go until we cook whatever, and then whenever we sell out, we sell out. And they pretty much would sell out every day by 2:00 in the afternoon. And you would show up there, you didn't have to wait, other than seating or whatever, you would have to wait. But if you wanted to take it and go, you could go. But they focused on killing it, and then at the same time frame, they got breaks, so they could spend the whole first half of the week like planning for those 4 days basically. And then, I think that concept work. Of course, obviously, if you've got a lease that you've got to pay and everything else, it makes a big difference. That lease that overhead always determines that bottom end factor. But, that concept definitely, worked for them. And I was like, that was kind of eye opening for me. Like if I ever wanted to do a restaurant, I felt like that's what I would try to do. Like, hey, let me just work 2 or 3 days or 3 or 4 days. And just try to focus on killing it.
Well, we'll be like kind of doing a little bit of both, right? Because there'll never be a time when someone couldn't get like a burger or a brisket sandwich. Like,
gotcha.
We'll have all those things, pretty stocked up. But yeah, I do anticipate this already has happened. We do beef ribs every Sunday. When we run out of beef ribs, Right. And then people start showing up early, or they call it in and they pay for it and they go, save it for me.
Yeah, hold it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so same thing with pork ribs. I mean, I do them every Wednesday, and sometimes I'll cook extra because we ran out early last week, and then this week I end up with I have too many, and it's just like you're just guessing like how busy are we going to be. Right. So you kind of you can't have any waste. Like that's a killer for a restaurant.
That's especially barbecue because it's not cheap. That's the one thing. It's not cheap.
The thing I'm really excited about is our menu up to this point has been very large. And so paring it down to just the barbecue thing will give us more bandwidth and ability to be creative. So let's say, and this is what's going to make it fun for me and Chico and Bonotto working together is being creative, is let's say we have a couple racks of pork ribs left over because it rained and we were slow that day. Well, now we can chop them up and we'll do like a chopped rib, like sandwich on a French roll the next day or something. Corn, like
Right.
we did corned
Right.
beef for St. Patrick's Day, and we smoked them, and then after Sunday we had a ton more corned beef, and they weren't gonna reheat. They were too tough when we reheated them. So we got a deli slicer. We sliced them thin, and we made corned beef melts Monday,
Nice.
Tuesday, and sold the heck out of them.
Nice.
So being creative and pivoting and
For sure.
repurposing stuff is something I'm really looking forward to.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's been a couple places. Well, a lot of the places up here work on the same thing that Mike was saying. It is. I mean, they have it till they're sold out. It's not rare to, excuse me, to walk into a restaurant and they got the whole list of, what they have and what they don't have. And then we had a place, they recently changed about a year or two ago to being open more, but they were on that same thing, Mike. They would do catering during the week. And it was almost like the weekend was their way of selling their food for people to taste it, because they were only open on Saturday and Sunday, which was, to me, when I first saw that, I thought same thing as you, Mike. I thought that was mind blowing. But if you didn't go there, it opened at 11. If you weren't there by 10:30, you were like the 50th or 100th person in line, because they just had that big of a following that they knew that they only made so much brisket, they only made so much pulled pork, they only made so much stuff, that if you weren't there early, and the same thing, they were done and closed and sold out by 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They were done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm stoked. And I mean, apart from even just doing the food, like it's a fun bar to hang out in. It's been there since the 80s, so there's a lot of nostalgia for people, but it just kind of had people weren't, I would say I never went there and hung out. Like, it was kind of, it needed a facelift. It was ready to be rejuvenated. And so my partners did an awesome job giving a facelift, and then they, rolled the dice and took a swing on bringing me in as a partner to do the kitchen. And I think that I hope they feel like that gamble paid off. And I just think, dude, I've run comedy shows all over LA, all over the country. Like, I've produced a lot of comedy shows. We're doing a comedy show every other Tuesday at the patio, and it is one of the funnest shows I've ever produced. It's just the vibe out there. It's just like, it's what I would always dreamed of if I ever owned a place, because it's just oozes community. People are just like, dude, thanks for doing this. They're getting cold beers. They're getting a great comedy show. They're getting good food that I'm proud to serve them, and it's just it's unique. It's not just a restaurant you go and order because you're hungry. It's a restaurant you go because you're excited to hang out with people, And we still got the old guard that hangs out in the front, the guys who are retired from Chevron and show up every day at 11 and have their beers, throughout the day. Like, we got the regulars, and it feels like it's the closest thing I've ever seen to Cheers anywhere that I live. But then we have the new energy of the young families that had never been there before, and they like to come in and enjoy the nice weather and the live music we have on the back patio, and they can get sliders for the kids, and they can eat real food without breaking the bank, and sit there and mom and dad can have a break and drink a beer, So it's cool, man. I just can't wait for you guys to see it.
Heck
So
yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
So when did you start the podcast, and why would you do such a thing?
Yeah, well, sometimes I feel like the podcast runs me, not the other way around. But I started the podcast before the pandemic, and it was literally just because I was getting really into learning barbecue. I was posting pictures all the time of like ribs that I was cooking and things like that. And then I'd go out to the comedy clubs around town, and usually you have the same conversation with people over and over again. Your peers in the industry. It would be like, oh, are you going up tonight? Have you been on the road lately? And I just started realizing nobody was having the traditional conversations with me. Everyone was like, bro, you cook those ribs yourself? How do you do that? Like, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm just trying to learn, man. I'm trying to get better at barbecue, and I just realized it's what people wanted to talk to me about, and it's what I wanted to talk to people about. And
Right.
so I'd always, when I go tour, it was a thing I'd do anyways, where I try to find the best barbecue in every city I go to. You know, it's where I'd go for lunch. And so I just thought about it, and I'm like, well, maybe people will want to hear me talk barbecue, even though I didn't think I was an expert or whatever. I'm like, maybe I'll just start a podcast about it. And so I did. And then when I posted on Instagram that, I was like, what do you guys think of the name Meet Dave? And people were like, dude, I love it. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. You know, play on words and whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't want to like peg it to just barbecue too. Like I wanted to be able to have like just restaurant tours and comics
For
talking
sure.
about, like, you know, so I didn't want it to just be a barbecue podcast. But anyways, then you know, as I started going places and reaching out, I started making friends in the barbecue community, man. Like people I never would have imagined being able to meet, you know, just Mo Cason and Malcolm Reed and you know, Art Smith. I was going to Chicago to open up for Bert, and I messaged Chef Art Smith on Instagram because I saw he had a restaurant there, and I'm like, hey man, can I interview you for my podcast? And he wrote me back and said, I don't live in Chicago, but I'm actually flying in right now because I have an event this weekend. He's like, can you come down tomorrow? And I go, I'll be there. So I went
That's
down and I had
badass.
lunch with Art Smith, and and back those days, no one was doing video, so I was just bringing a little recorder, sat there,
Right.
ate lunch with Art Smith and asked him a bunch of questions, and then
That's
you know,
wild.
invited him out to my show that night. And you know, that was kind of the routine. When I'd come to a city, I'd reach out to people and then invite them out to the show, and got to make good friends with a lot of people that way. And and then during the pandemic, when everyone started leaning into like doing interviews on Zoom and StreamYard and whatever, then I, like, you know, people had time too. They were just sitting at home. So
Right.
I messaged everybody that
That's funny.
I was going for big gets.
Yeah, you sound like my Tuesday. I'm sitting there. I flip through Instagram, and it's just like, oh, I like that person. I'm just going to send them a message. I mean, I know they're never gonna. I know they're gonna never send back. My biggest score. Excuse me, God, I got something today. My biggest score.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Biggest score. Well, obviously is Meet Dave, but I actually sent out. I was watching, you know, on Food Network Tournament of Champions, whatever they have there, where they have all the great chefs battling each other, Guy Fieri, this and that.
Iron
and he's
Chef.
the host. Yeah, it's kind of like Iron Chef, but it's like a tournament where they have all this. But anyway,
Oh yeah. The Tournament of Champions or something
Tournament
like
of
that.
Champions. Yeah. So I happened to notice that Jonathan Sawyer was on, and he was from Chicago, and so I'm on a Tuesday. I looked him up on Instagram, and I'm just like, I'm gonna send a message to Jonathan Sawyer and see what happens. And sure as shit, somebody answered. And then next thing you know, his manager answers, and I'm like, and he's gonna be on the show May 20 something. And I'm like, holy cow, how did that even just happen?
Oh, that's cool.
And why is he on? When does he even watch the show? Doesn't even know what he's getting into and why?
Well, you know, the cool thing too is it's not only like, you know, well-known people that can feel like a good get. It's like it gives you a reason to, like, when my kids were younger, we got really into this show called Alone, which is a survivalist show, you know? And so we would sit here and binge it. Like my kids loved it. And there's this one contestant that we became a fan of. And so, you know, and they cook, or they like shoot squirrel and cook squirrel. And like, yeah, that's part of surviving in the wilderness is like food and live fire or whatever. So I found the guy online and messaged him and said, hey, my family is a big fan of yours. Will you come on my podcast? And the guy's like, sure. Yeah. So I'll come on a barbecue podcast, you know, whatever.
Right.
So that I got to be friends with that dude. But you know, the funny thing is that, like, especially the cool thing about podcasting is that it's evergreen. It comes and goes. Like I'll put out a ton of episodes and then I won't put out an episode for a long time. Just do the best I can with it. But I haven't done an episode now in like probably over a year because I've been involved with the restaurant and touring, and it's just been like, you know, I've had too many other things on my plate. But Meet Dave has become more than just like the podcast name. It really just became my identity and my name. And even the kids I coach a water polo team here in town. All the kids call me Coach Meat, and I'm like, all right, relax. Like, I'm like, let's give people some context for that. All right, like,
Coach Meat.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like Meet Dave's become way more than just the podcast. It's like my branding, and it's my social media content, and it's just my identity and who I am, you know?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, no, I do most of that. That's what I do most. I actually enjoy I enjoy the podcast more than I enjoy hopefully none of the Wanamakers are listening, but I enjoy this now more than I enjoy the store part of it. I mean, it's just it's fun to see everybody in the barbecue bubble and talk just goofy stuff about everything. I have more fun trying to find people to be on it, and it's almost like a challenge to see who you can get.
Yeah, shoot your shot. Never know what happens.
You never know what's going to happen. I mean, I got Brad and Brooke, and I got Malcolm Reed to come on. I got Heath Riles to come on. I mean, I just get lucky to have these people that are just like, God, they probably have never watched the show because it's like nobody watches this show.
Well, I'll tell you this too. When I started the podcast, comedians had been podcasting for years at that point, and every single comic has started a podcast, and everyone asks everyone to do their podcast. And so doing comedy podcasts were at that time, people were pretty jaded about it. You know, it was pretty like, all right, let's go on and have the same conversations over and over again. But when I started the barbecue podcast, like the barbecue community was super into it and was like, there wasn't a lot of content being made this then,
Yeah.
So people were totally just like, dude, I'm honored you'd ask me. Let's do it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And then it was a little bit of a scam because I was going to go when I was on the road and eat at these restaurants anyways. So now I got to like sit with the owner and get a free t-shirt and probably comp my meal.
That's funny.
Well, now there's just so many. Mike, how many podcasts would you say you probably do in, just a month or whatever? I mean, that you get asked to do.
I wouldn't say I probably do a half a dozen a year,
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's not that I never turn anybody down. Pretty much anybody asks me to tell my story, I'm going to tell it,
Yeah.
I look at that as an opportunity. That's what I love podcasts. There's been podcasts that I have no clue who it was. And then I go, oh, sure, I'll do it, because it's a new audience. It's an opportunity for me to tell my story and hopefully connect to one more person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love doing podcasts. I think it's a great, way to, put yourself out there and, yeah. So
I know I was one of those people with Mike because I remember when I was at Wanamakers and I first brought in Blazing Star. He was one of the first guests. You weren't one of my first guests, but it was the first time I'm going to try and see if I can get Mike on the show. And he got me to try the Reaper rub live right on TV. And since then, it's like everybody now tastes it. It's like, dude, you got to taste it.
Well, Mike, I'll use this opportunity to put you on the spot. And I don't know if Uncle Chico has reached out to you yet or not, but we really enjoy using one of your rubs on our ribs. We do a layer of my rub, a little layer of salt and pepper, and a layer of your rub. We like the color and the way it makes it pop and the flavor. So if that's going to be our official recipe, I'm going to need a friends and family discount for a larger quantity, buddy.
Gotcha. We're actually working on, I think I know which one it is, but we're in the process of trying to make like 5-pound bags of it. But either way, I can get it to you by cases too, obviously.
Perfect, man.
Until we get the 5-pound bags.
Hey, man, 5-pound bag. I want that blow pop rate. All right.
Right. I got you.
Look at you two negotiating blow pops right here on the.
Hey, just beat me.
Yeah. As long as I get some extra advertisement in there, we can definitely work something out.
We got you, dog.
We got a few more minutes, but since we got Mike here, who's the open fire, one of the open fire masters, are you getting into the open fire thing, or are you just sticking to the?
No, I'm loving learning about open fire, man. It's been a really cool, because you never stop learning, right? You always push yourself. You always can do something different or evolve. But, when you're cooking the same thing over and over again, the same smoker over and over again, it's fun to shake it up. And I got to go to the Mel did an event, Dark Side of the Grill did an event up in Canada in Edmonton. And he's a huge part of my festival here. He's essentially a partner, in the festival. He's dropped everything from year one to come and help me with it. And so he was going to do his event up there. And I already had some things scheduled that weekend, but I'm like, buddy, I'll be there Saturday at midnight. I'm going to leave my other event early. And even though I'm just there for one day, I got to be there for you, So that day, the last day, Sunday, I got to sit with Al Fragoni all day long and just cook open fire and do demonstrations for people. And Al's such an amazing, I know Mike knows this,
He's
such an amazing teacher, man. He's very patient, and he makes you actually do it. He doesn't make you watch him do it. He makes you do it, you know?
Yeah.
And I just learned so much sitting there all day long. And then I competed on Mel's team at the Open Fire Meetup, which is Al's event in Hondo, Texas. And so that was another real just experience with Open Fire. And obviously, I mean, you know, we all, you know, deal with Open Fire on a smaller level when we're, you know, grilling steaks or searing or, you know, I mean, shoot, half the time after I've had too many IPAs, I'll just throw some steaks that some company sent me on my fire pit while me and my neighbors are out in the yard watching TV, you know, like I'm cooking just over like a campfire. I'm cooking Wagyu steaks, you know, or throwing a cast iron on just straight on the coals, you know, or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, but yeah, just that next level of how it's blowing up right now is so interesting to me. And I can't wait to keep learning and getting better and better at it.
Heck yeah.
You going to Memphis then? Are you doing Memphis?
Oh yeah, I'll be there with Mel, cooking on Mel's team in Memphis. So basically, I have a little over a month to get this restaurant humming, so I can go to Memphis and
Memphis is gonna be crazy.
I gotta get the dark side of the grill on the show. I've been watching his videos. He must have been somewhere, and I clicked on it, and now it's like his videos are coming up all the time, and he just looks like he is like.
Oh yeah,
a character.
Speaking of guests, he'll be a great guest.
It just sounds like
he's nonstop, full blown. You know, balls to the wall.
It's been an absolute treat watching him chase his dreams and have so much success and just be who he wants to be in this world too. Because you know he was a welder and wasn't. Especially, I think, happy like with that being his main thing, and you know, was passionate about the barbecue stuff. But when I first got connected with him on Instagram, he was just a fan of mine because of comedy. He didn't have anything to do with barbecue, and he had a couple hundred followers at that time, and he was such a character. I'd see him comment on my stuff, and I looked up he had a couple cooking videos on there, but you know, wasn't really leaning into it yet. So I followed him back because I'm like, this guy seems like an interesting dude. And we just became friends on Instagram who saw each other's content back and forth. And then I had him on my podcast. And I don't know, it might have been one of the first podcasts he ever did. I was like, dude, come on, I want to have you on. And then to watch him team up with Big Green Egg and start doing Big Green Egg takeovers and things like that. And his followers just went up, and then he was doing less welding and more cooking. And it's just been really cool, man. And we've become very close friends since then, man. You know, the events we've been able to hang out at and the journey we've been able to go on, you know, as buddies has been really cool.
I don't know if you remember. Well, Al Fragoni was on the show. Thanks to Mike Starr. Thank you, Mike. Was on the show a while back, and he was talking that. I don't remember the whole context of it, but wherever he was at, he had to stay with Mel from Dark Side of the whatever. And he got into like, well, then my flight got delayed and whatever. And I had to stay. He's like, I love him to death, but 3 or 4 days of the man, I just couldn't take it anymore. You know, it just, and it, you know how Al has just got that like blank, like, oh my God, you know, like, what did I get into? I had to, you know, one day was fine, you know, one day was fine, but 3 or 4 days it's too much for any man, you know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would say that about a lot of us.
I would say exactly. So
another story with Mel real quick though. Actually the first ever open fire meetup at Al's place, that it was only like 12 or 13 of us. What happened was me and Al were talking about it.
Hold on 1 second, Mike. 1 second. Anybody, if you're on the show and you are over on Instagram on Thursday Night BBQ Chat, you have 2 minutes to get over to either Facebook or YouTube, or you're going to miss the end of Mike's story. That's why I stopped him, because I don't want you to miss this exciting story.
It's going to be about a hitchhiker he picked up on I-75.
Yeah, Instagram is going to cut out in 55 seconds if you're over on Thursday Night BBQ Chat on Instagram. Why? We still have no idea, but it's going to do it. So anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so I was also talking to Mel, and me and Mel had connected by that time frame too online, because we had met at Memphis in May. Actually, all three of us met at Memphis in May in person for the first time in 2021, that COVID year where we were all in mass down at Memphis in May. But we're there. Al calls me. He says, "Hey, let's do it." Mel said he's in. He just booked his flight. And I was like, all right, I booked my flight. And then we did a live. And then next thing you know, we were able to wrangle in another 7 or 8, 9 people, whatever, to come down to Al's place to do the very first open fire meetup. And, now, it's transcended into partnering with Memphis in May. So pretty crazy where it's gone.
Yeah.
So I know that Dave's the guest on this whole thing, but Mike, how does it, when you sit there now, you're sitting there and you just mentioned it's going to Memphis in May. You were there last year in Hondo and it was absolutely huge. How do you feel knowing that you were part of the original crew that was there in Hondo?
Oh yeah.
To what it is now.
Yeah. It just started as us wanting a way to hang out and like cook with each other and make content. That's how it started, right? And then we had so much fun with it. We were like, we got to do it, make it bigger next year, right? And then the next year it was, 50 people, and then we opened it up to the public, right? And it was like, wow, people actually wanted to come and hang out with us and taste our food. And then it was like, all right, well, now we're moving to a ranch and we're selling, tickets, for people to, come and do it. And then we got 1,500 people to come pay tickets to do that. And we're like, wow, okay.
So the first year it was at Al's house, Al's property, or where was
he had a warehouse. Back then he had in Bernie, Texas, he had rented a warehouse that was right off the highway, this warehouse that he rented from this old guy. It was a nice setup. He had all the grills there because back then he was partnered with with Julian in Argentina that had all the Argentine grills. So he had partnered with him and he was selling those grills. Matter of fact, I went down there right after Memphis in May in 2021. I went to his warehouse. I kind of helped him launch the chimichurri at that time frame. And I was like, bro, we got to go live. People don't know that you're selling these grills. People don't know that you're selling this chimichurri. And we went live down there and at his warehouse. And then he sold a bunch of chimichurri. He sold 2 or 3 grills on the live. And so then that changed his whole mindset of how this worked. Because before it was just shooting content, and it wasn't about selling anything, for him. But yeah, he had a warehouse. So the very first one was a little warehouse. We had a field that we set up. Big Hobbs came out there. We cooked some whole hogs, a couple cabritos, alligator, rattlesnake. Vic Super Skewers came down. Willie, Adventures of the Fat Guy. Tone, TFTI was there. Mel was there. Like I said, it was just 10. I think it was 12, 13 of us total that was on it. And we were like, oh, let's see what happens with this. And then we were like, oh, let's add a competition to it. People's choice, Well,
it's a tremendous event, man. This was my first time going, and I thought it was awesome. Obviously it's the perfect mix of people. It's all the, it's all the guys that I'm close with, are all attending that one. So for me, it's all my favorite people are there. And then just it's equal parts extremely professional and well run, and they got great sponsors and a cool stage and facility and whatever. But at the same time, it's there's no pretentiousness because the people who run it are my friends and are all just laid back, cool people like Mike and Al, so I thought it was a really cool vibe. The good
part about Hondo is we get to have that couple days to ourselves where we don't have the public around. Yeah. Right. And then it's we set up and prepare to put on a show for the public.
Yeah.
Right. So we get to have our time, let loose, interact, network, and have a good time. And so that'll be the difference about Memphis, because Memphis, we're going to have to be, on our toes, but it's all the time entertaining the public too. I mean, we've got the competition aspect, but we're also going to be entertaining the public for 2.5 days too.
Well, I give you and Al and all the rest of you open fire guys, I give you a lot of credit, because I think the open fire is the enema that competition barbecue needed, because I just think it's just from listening to everything about Hondo over the last couple of years and everything, and what Al was doing with Smoke Slam and all that stuff, as far as engaging the public in barbecue, I think is huge. And sooner or later, obviously maybe with the Memphis and May thing, competition barbecue is going to have to figure out, they have to engage the public. It can no longer just be, we're there to amuse the competition people. We have to make it worth something to be able to host these events. I mean, I don't know how the promoters and anybody make any kind of money or do anything with some of this stuff, with the way costs have gone. But adding the public to it and having that some kind of like a fair atmosphere to it, I think would be huge for barbecue in general.
Well, I mean, for me, it's kind of what's fun about the my festival as well, is that we don't have any sort of a competition element, other than just the it feels like a competition to like have to pull off feeding so many people,
Right.
So I'll have comedy shows all throughout the week, and then at every comedy show you have the option to buy a barbecue plate, ahead of time. So then we'll be set up. It's kind of like we're just running a tailgate for the comedy shows. Is basically what it is, right? So the comedians can come early, and then they watch the pitmasters do their thing, and then the pitmasters can go sit in the back row, watch the comedians do their thing. So it's like both worlds. And then on the Sunday of my festival, the pitmasters take over the whole park, and we do a more traditional barbecue day where people buy a ticket and they get unlimited bites or whatever. So what I'm thinking about doing, tell me what you think about this, Mike, is I think just to add a little bit of a competitive spirit to it, is I think when all the pitmasters get in town on Thursday, we do a live draft. And every year we have Team Dave and Team Mel. And so then if there's like 20 pitmasters that are there to be part of the weekend, we draft our dream teams, right? And so then we're all working together to cook throughout the week for all the shows. But on Sunday, it's people's choice of Team Mel versus Team Dave. And that way,
Nice.
and then every year, depending on how you do like fantasy football, you might not get your favorite player. Depends how you draft,
Right. Right. No, that'd be cool. I like that.
Oh, here's a question from Happy Pappy. Do you have to have permits from the local health department
Yes,
to do
you do.
barbecue content?
Yes, you do.
They're different permits, but and then each state handles it a little different, right? Especially if you're doing sampling, to the crowds, but that makes it easier though if you're just doing sampling, right, and not selling food. And once you sell food, it's a whole different permit. There's a lot more involved.
Does it help with Hondo? And then I'm going to have to go because it's going to get stormy weather. But
You're good.
And then at Hondo, does it help with the health department that you have to buy a ticket to do it? So it's almost kind of like a waiver, like you're entering and eating the food at your own risk.
Well, it helps that we're on a private ranch in Texas. But yes, we do have to still have to file the permits with Texas. And like I said, once again, each state, each county handles it a little differently.
In California, the main thing is just like the handling of the food. So like Mike said, like if it was like a food truck festival, then like every food truck would need to be set up where they have, just like they do normally when they're vending, but like a festival, like we can't just let people cook food and hand it out. Like there has to be an area with the right hand washing station and stuff like that for them to prep the food, and then it goes out,
And so many people have to have like food handler license and stuff like that. Not everybody has to, but there has to be like X
Someone.
amount of people
Yeah.
there that has it, right? So
Yeah.
Happy Pappy said he just passed his Serve Safe manager's course, which I mean,
There
that'll
you
give
go.
you some stuff, but you still have to check with. I know that from in Illinois, DuPage County, which is where my store is. It's not my store, but the Wanamaker store is at. They're probably one of the stricter as far as what you can do and what you can't do. That's why I don't do a ton of special things, because I tried it once, and by the time they got into all the different food aspects and stuff like it, was just like, forget it. I mean, it's just a small little event. I'm not going to be, like you
For
said,
sure.
like Mike was saying, they wanted, foods, hand wash stations. The vendors couldn't sample out of crock pots. They had to have, they couldn't use coolers. They had to use official refrigeration equipment, and a refrigerator didn't count. And I'm just like, dude, it's like, I'm not trucking in commercial refrigerators for a freaking one-day event of sampling to the public. I mean, how many thousands it's going to be for nothing,
Yeah.
So
for sure.
But anyway, Dave, I'm going to let you go. My phone is blowing up with severe thunderstorm warning. So everybody in Chicago area, please be safe.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. If people want to follow along, they can follow me at Dave W Comedy, or I now have a barbecue handle as well at Meet Dave BBQ. I'm trying to build that one up. If you come to the LA area, come to Old Town Patio. We're right by LAX. Easy to visit us, and message me if you're going to come. If I'm not already going to be there and I'm in town, I will come have a beer with you. And check my schedule, DaveWilliamson.com, for road dates. I'm going to be in Miami on April 16th, I believe. It's a Thursday night at the big comedy club there in Doral. So get tickets, come see me if you're in the South Florida area.
And then when was your comedy festival?
June 25th to 28th in El Segundo, California. It's the same weekend as the World Cup going on here. So it's going to be a lot's going to be going on. Come to LA, guys.
That'll be fun. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Head out to LA, get over there, follow Meet Dave and all that other good stuff. And Dave, thanks again for coming on. It was great to see you at the Shed. I'm glad it followed through to an actual great show. Wish it wasn't storming. We probably could have kept going, but that's okay.
We'll
I
do it
want to
again,
get
bud.
off. Yep, you got it, buddy. Have a good night.
All right,
All
guys.
right, have a good night.
Love you, Mike.
Fun one. Yeah, love you, bro.
All right, Mike, thank you very much for filling in for the great Ryan. I did okay. I think I did okay, Mike. I think
yeah, you did, man. You
got
had
through
all
most of the
going.
stuff. We didn't do too well with the Oh, it's really lightning out there now, Mike.
Uh-oh. Well, stay safe out there, man.
Well, I'm inside. I'm not planning on going anywhere for a little bit.
Yeah,
just the front comes through. We've had and I think we were talking about it in agreement. We have had the weirdest. I'm not even talking about weird weather. I mean, obviously being in the Midwest, being in the Chicago area, I'm used to weird stuff. But I mean, it is today. It's it's supposed to get up to. It was 70 something today, and then tomorrow it's 40 something. I mean, we have these
crazy.
buildups, and then these 40 degree drops, and it's and then you get these massive storms coming through because it's such a huge drop. It's insane. So
I lived in Nebraska for 5 years, and I don't miss that. Yeah,
I don't know if I'd want to be that. That seems even scarier than here with some of those twisters and everything.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Have a good night. Everybody have a great night. Next week, Mike, you might want to watch next week, buddy. Next week is next week we have Fuego del Norte. He is open fire from Germany. We are going live all the way to Germany.
Heck
I know he said it's 2:00 in the morning in Germany. He said he still wanted to do the show. So that's great. We're trying to do that. And then after that, we will be going to on April 16th. It will be the Rib Cook-Off Association Championship is going to be going on. And we are going to have Fat Boy Hickman's going to be on and Mr. Perkins from P&L Steaks.
Nice.
So we got a couple of good guests coming up. So, Mike, thanks very much. And
my pleasure. I enjoyed
stop into Wanamakers and get some
Reaper Rub. Let's
go.
go.
You know what I want to ask you? Was it an April Fool's joke, or are you really coming out with the bourbon sauce?
It was an April Fool's joke, and I fooled probably 90% of the people, but I'm actually using it to play into an opportunity to hopefully partner with a bourbon company. I actually have one distillery already, which we actually almost worked together a couple years ago, already reached out from the post and was like, let's make it happen. you know, so who knows? We'll see. We might make it happen.
I saw it and I'm just like, all right, I don't know. I'm not if I'm getting suckered into this or not. And I'm trying to read the comments and nobody's saying, you're not saying yes or no or this or that. And then I had to look back and it said 1 day ago. And I'm like, oh my God, is this April Fool's?
That bottle looked good too, didn't it? That bottle looked good.
Well, you know what? It just sounded like a really good sauce. And I'm just like,
right.
Yeah, but I'm sure Mike would have like texted and said, dude, I'm coming out with this new sauce.
I had people that were messaging me like, bro, what are you doing holding out on me? How are you not going to tell me this?
I have to say you did have me for a bit because, and then I did. I was like, I'm going to talk to him on the show about it. I'm not going to message him right away, but I was kind of the same way. I was kind of like, dude, it's like, how do you not hook up a brother? You know, I like to be the first with everything. How do I not have this on my shelf? Like right away?
Will make sure when I come out with it, you're one of the first ones to get it.
All righty. All right, everybody. Next week, make sure you're here at 7:00, Thursday Night BBQ Chat. Ryan should be back. If not, we'll find another co-host. I mean, they're easy to find. Every dime a dozen.
Right.
You just got to find one with more technology skills because Mike and I both don't know how to work the technology.
Right.
So, everybody, have a good week. Mike, thanks for being on. And
my pleasure. Appreciate it.
Yep. Hopefully this ends.